let's say there were 10 people and there were 10 apples. So each person had one apple. Now let's say just because we planted more trees, because we had 10 people, now there's 20 apples in the system. Now every person has 2 apples. Did everyone get richer, or was everyone in the same situation?
That's interesting, eh?
My thought is, I think everyone's actually richer in that situation because now people can be twice as full. Yes, the worth of an apple has decreased because of supply and demand, because everyone has 2 apples, so everyone's in the same situation, but everyone's twice as full. And I think if we use that same scenario, the apple could be land, house, technology.
So, that's a good example. But what would you say then if the government just decides to print a bucket load of money and everyone would have access to, everyone would have all those funds, everyone would have that?
Now, that's sort of why I probably would emphasize on resources over money. If people had more food, more houses, more technology, and how that would happen is maybe we just make more than the rate of population increase. So therefore, eventually everyone would have a computer, everyone would have a house, everyone would have more food because there's more farms.
That's I agree with you in the sense that resources are what makes everyone's essentially quality of life better. However, how do you make resources more equitable for everyone if you're trying to bridge the gap? What I'm trying to say is, how do you bridge the gap to make everyone, like you said, demolish the class of rich, poor, and middle class? If it's resources, if you're talking about the allocation of equitable resources, because say housing, for example, if the government were to just decide to how do they make housing cheaper? Is by introducing essentially put more council housing up, state housing up, or by doing so, if they buy up heaps of houses, if they buy up heaps of land and property and just, commission that to be built for council purposes, then essentially the value of houses in that area drop, the value of houses in that state drop, because you owning a house doesn't make you any more special than the person next to you, because the person next to you can essentially own a house and it's like living in the government house, you know what I mean? So the value of his house would decrease as a result of that. So my thing is, how would that be achieved without government intervention? Because as soon as the government intervenes in anything, its value decreases accordingly, in terms of say the government intervenes and tries to sort out homelessness by giving the homeless people houses. They know that as soon as they do that, the economy is gone.